years, we will be 100 years old, continuous service to this community for 100 years, which is pretty special, we think. Kiwanis' mission is this: we serve the children of the world, one community at a time, including this community. So we're proud of the things that we do in this community. So to get the meeting started on an official note, I'm going to call on President-elect Nick Cindy of the Batavia Kiwanis Club to do the Pledge of Allegiance. Everybody please stand.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
That's fantastic. Remember all the words. It's great. It's a dementia test. You passed. Nick will be the incoming president for the 2021-2022 Kiwanis Club year. Unfortunately, Bob Conrad, who's the library director, who is our current president, is on vacation this week and couldn't attend. At this point, I'm going to ask soon-to-be retired District Attorney Larry Friedman to come up and talk a little bit about our law enforcement law day recognition event.
The Law Day event was started many years ago by the Lions Club, and then there came a time when they were not going to do it anymore, and they asked us, the Kiwanis Club, if we wanted to take it over, and we did. And prior to that, we had been giving out criminal justice awards at a luncheon, and we ended up combining the two events into a Law Day dinner and criminal justice awards. And so that is what happened. When it was being run by the Lions Club, actually the person in charge of it was one of their members, Dave Solly, who will be mentioned later on, and he handed that off to us. The Kiwanis Criminal Justice Award is given for exceptional career achievements and conscientiousness citizenship, demonstrating a spirit of selfless public service, or demonstrating an act of exceptional valor or heroism. And the people, the members of our law enforcement community that we're honoring here tonight are being honored for that reason. I am going to read what was written about the members of the Sheriff's Office and the Leroy Police Department who are receiving this award tonight. And I know many of you have already read or heard this, but I'm going to be repeating it for those who haven't and for the public that is watching this evening. On May 27th of last year, what began as a typical traffic stop in Leroy turned into a multi-agency pursuit of a tractor trailer through multiple counties at speeds up to 70 miles an hour or more. The tractor trailer recklessly swerved into oncoming traffic, putting innocent drivers at risk, made multiple U-turns, attempted to strike patrol cars, and shot at officers several times. 4 different patrol vehicles were struck by bullets, one vehicle with at least 8 rounds. One of the bullets went through the windshield and struck the rear partition over a deputy's headrest. Fortunately, that deputy had been leading to his right at the time. The pursuit came to an end when the tractor trailer heading toward the village of Geneseo was fired upon by officers and exited the roadway. The driver was pronounced dead at the scene, and the reign of terror was over. The ensuing investigation revealed that the driver was on the FBI watch list. Searches at his residence and rental property revealed bomb-making instructions, improvised explosive devices, multiple weapons, and large amounts of ammunition. These findings, along with his social media posts, revealed that he was an anti-police extremist and was planning violence on a larger scale. The pursuit that night lasted approximately an hour and 15 minutes. The number of lives that were endangered was countless. Patrols from multiple jurisdictions placed themselves in danger to protect the public for the entire duration of the incident. They cleared roadways and intersections while the patrol cars were in danger of being rammed by the tractor trailer and in the line of fire while the driver was shooting at them. They coordinated over jurisdictional lines to remove a threat to the public, not only for that night, but certainly for a future time. These officers were nominated for this award by Sheriff William A. Sharon Jr. and Leroy Police Chief Gregory Kellogg. And maybe if somebody wants to hand them out as I call their names out. And we are very grateful and indebted to these heroic members of our local law enforcement agencies. First, retired investigator Christopher Parker is not here this evening, so we will get that to him. Deputy Josh Grabon. Deputy Brock Cummings. Deputy Andrew Mullen. Deputy David Moore. Deputy Howard Wilson, not here, right? Okay. Sergeant Andrew Hale. Deputy Kyle Pressman. Leroy Police Officer Austin Steinbrenner. Then Sergeant, current Chief of the Leroy Police Department, Greg Kellogg. Okay. And Leroy Police Officer Jordan Walker. Let's have a round of applause for all these things. Thank you very much. Moving on. There's an agenda. Oh, there's an agenda.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, we're not talking about the other one.
Well, this was the agenda. I mean, you can do anything you want at this point.
Yeah, why don't we finish the one?
Okay.
All right. Next law enforcement award goes to recently retired City of Batavia police officer Jason Davis, who was nominated by Chief Sean Highbush of the Batavia Police Department. Sean and Jason, want to step up? And this is what was said by Chief Highbush about Jason. Police Officer Jason Davis has served many roles within the department during his nearly 22 years of service to the community. He has served as an officer in charge, instructor, field training officer, and emergency response team member, to name a few. Officer Davis served as the department's de-escalation instructor, and most recently, he was assigned as the school resource officer to the Batavia City School District, where he immediately made an impact on the lives of students and staff in the district. He was able to successfully de-escalate incidents with students, act as a role model and mentor to many, and served as an invaluable resource to the staff. Throughout his career, Officer Davis handled all of his duties with professionalism and pride, for the uniform he wore and the department he represented. Officer Davis was nominated for this award, as I said, by City of Batavia Police Chief Sean Hodge. And for our final law enforcement award, I'm going to call on the chairperson of the Genesee County Legislature, Rochelle Stein, who made this nomination.
Thank you for this opportunity. I am absolutely honored to be speaking on behalf of the nomination of retired Chief of Police Christopher Hayward. When he served in the village of Leroy, he started in his teenage years. His life has been one of caring for every person in our community. He is an icon still today of public service in the village and town of Leroy. His selfless service serves as a model for all of us, that those in law enforcement not only care for all of us, but the relationship that we have to care for those of you who serve in this role is incredible. So that relationship together is really being honored here at this award ceremony. Chris has also participated and offered his leadership on several county, regional, and state committees and task force. In his professional career, he's exemplified that caring for the well-being of all of us. His retirement, well-earned, I should say, and deserved. Chris, a friend to all in our community and a friend to me, congratulations, well-deserved. I'm proud to honor you tonight. Thank you.
And just so you know, Chris did join us via Zoom, so Chris is on the screen, so thanks, Chris.
As part of this event each year, the Genesee County Bar Association honors the team, the high school team that wins the Glow Region mock trial tournament. This is a statewide tournament that is sponsored by the New York State Bar Association. And to honor the winners this year, I will call on Johnny Lucas, who is the teacher coach of the winning team, Alexander High School.
Thanks so much.
Did you, why don't we read off the names of the students, and those who are here can step up and accept their certificates. Okay. And we there is a plaque, very nice plaque, that reads Charles L. Mancuso Award, dedicated to the memory of an outstanding attorney and citizen, given by the Genesee County Bar Association, presented to Alexander High School as the 2021 winner of the Glow District Competition, New York State Bar Association mock trial tournament.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Thanks so much. I'll just read the names of the students who are here for our team. But first off, I just wanted to say thanks to the police officers who are here getting honored for your service. It's awesome. Thank you to Christy Duran, who set up most of the trial and tournament stuff. I just wanted to speak really quickly on behalf of the team. Our team is really small at Alexander. We hit some weird circumstances where we weren't able to start practicing for the case until like a week before the trial started because of COVID protocols and that. The team didn't even get to actually run the trial like in its full thing at all before the trial. So we went into the tournament basically just very little practice. And the kids did such an amazing job that they're just, you know, I'm very proud of them. So the students who are here, if you guys want to come up or just stand up, I guess would be okay. That they're not, yeah. Dana Morelli. Olivia Burkhart. Sean Kelmis. Imogen Plitt. And Annie Slanker. Thank you very much.
Let me just say too, it was just pointed out to me that Christy Duran is joining us via Zoom. Christy is a local attorney whose office is across the street. I'm putting in a little plug for you, Christy. And she is the chairperson of the coordinator of the local mock trial program. And she couldn't be personally with us tonight, but Christy, I'm not sure whether people would be able to hear you, but is there anything that you want to add to this?
Sure. I just want to say congratulations to the Alexander Mock Trial Squad. They really did a great job given the difficulties that we faced with the virtual format this year. I was able to watch most, if not all, of their trials, and I was just so impressed with how well prepared the students were, how professional the students were, and I received that feedback from all of the judges that they appeared before as well. So I just want to say congratulations and great job.
Thank you, Christy.
Well, again, we thank you guys for coming to this muted law enforcement law day recognition program, and we hope to be in our full bloom again next year with the dinner and everything like that. I did just get word from legislator Gary Mayha that he wanted a few minutes of your time, so if you can bear with us.
Thank you, Peter. Larry Friedman, DA, would you step up there, please? And past president of Kiwanis School of Batavia. The Kiwanis School of Batavia has nominated and selected you for a special recognition award, which we're going to talk about. But before we get to that, I'd like to make a few remarks. We've known each other for a long time, probably since you started the DA's office, almost 40 years ago. And you've done a great job in the DA's office, but first, let me talk about some of the things you've done. And correct me if I'm wrong, because I got some of these dates off the internet, and everybody knows everything's true on the internet. But anyway, Larry started with the Johnson County District Attorney's Office in 1981 as an assistant DA. In 1997, he started his first term as District Attorney of Johnson County and served as DA for 24 years. He is the longest tenured sheriff in Johnson County history. I remember once years ago, I told Larry, I said, one of my personal goals is to be the longest serving sheriff in Johnson County history. And I said, well, that's one of my goals too. I want to be the longest serving DA in Johnson County history. Both of us have reached those personal goals. Larry and his staff have been really instrumental here in Johnson County, not only in the prosecution of criminals, and he's had a lot of high profile, what we call high profile crimes, and obtained convictions on all of them. Larry and his staff have assisted in training our officers across the county in various laws, new laws, courtroom procedure, testimony, and he's done a great job, and we appreciate that. Larry, for what you've done. Now I want to talk about Larry Friedman, the Kiwanis. Larry joined the Kiwanis Club of Batavia in 1994. He served as president in 2000, and he liked it so much, he served again in 2011. So he was president of the Kiwanis Club on 2 different terms. He joins an elite group of past presidents who served as club president twice. Those include Joe Mancuso, Dick Ron, and Gary Clark. Larry is still active as an active member of the Kiwanis Club, serving and chairing several committees over several years. Larry was instrumental in establishing this committee, the Criminal Justice Law Enforcement Reward. We used to have a dinner. We don't have a dinner anymore. Not tonight, no dinners. So anyway, Larry's been instrumental in forming this committee, and he served as chair of this committee for many, many years. And I'd like to thank you for that, Larry. At this time, I'll read the Special Recognition Award and present this to you. It reads as follows. 2021 Special Recognition Award presented to Lawrence Friedman, Genesee County District Attorney, in recognition of the commitment to human values, high personal and professional standards, citizenship, and service to the community. Signed by Bob Conrad, our president. Larry, congratulations, well deserved. Thank you very much.
Well, as the longest standing DA in Genesee County, we thought it was important that we bring some people from Larry's past to join us as special guests to also say a few words. So come on in, Judge Adams, Bill Hochul, Judge Noonan, Teresa Raw, and if I can invite Bill Hochul to come up and say a few words first. Oh, and Larry's daughters, Susanna and Rebecca, are joining us via Zoom. So wave your daughters, Larry.
Thank you, and great to be back in Genesee County. This is a great privilege for me. I served as the United States Attorney in this area from 2010 to 2016. And in that time period, I worked extremely closely with Larry. And when I got a chance to come over here and say a few words, I immediately said yes, because in all the time I've known Larry, he stands as the absolute epitome of what a prosecutor should be. As I was thinking about my remarks today, I began with the fact that Larry had 6 terms of elected DA. That's 24 years. You add the years he did before that, about 16 or so from what I've been told, you now have a career in law enforcement that is longer than just about everybody that I see seated here today. And for those who are already in law enforcement, or even if you're not, you need to understand the role of a prosecutor is probably one of the most challenging there are. Sure, the prosecutor works closely with you all in law enforcement, yourselves are heroes, but the prosecutor isn't a law enforcement officer in the sense that he wears a uniform and a badge. He works with the police, he consults with the police, but at the same time, he's expected to look out for the rights of the accused. He kind of straddles the line. He decides in many cases who to investigate. He decides what techniques to use, who the witnesses will be, who to interview even, who to charge and not to charge. The stress around that position is just incredible. And yet, if done right, it's a job that has the great impact to influence not just the county, but frankly, all of Western New York, and in Larry's case, all of New York State. Larry truly was the epitome of the best prosecutor that anybody could design. He was the best prosecutor, and still is, that I have ever known. And among the 17 counties, when I was U.S. Attorney, we used to get together periodically. And I can tell you, Larry stood at the top of that group of district attorneys, all of them elected, all of them distinguished. And yet at the very top was Larry Friedman. And so, Larry, all of us owe you a big debt of gratitude. You could literally have done anything you wanted, including making a fortune in private practice. And yet you gave up your life, your career, your knowledge, your experience, and put it all into the job of district attorney. And while it might have been 4 decades in total, I'm here to tell you your impact will last far longer. Genesee County is the better for you having been here. There always was something special to both myself and I when we came to Genesee County. My wife still comes here, and I've got to tell you, you were the reason for that special feeling we always had. So thank you very much, Larry. It's been my honor to know you as long as I have, and my privilege to speak before all of your friends and colleagues today. So thank you very much.
Next, I'd like to call up Teresa Raw, who is the director of the Children Advocacy Center. She's going to talk a little bit about how much Larry has helped the Children Advocacy Center grow from a rented building to a building that they own on their own. Teresa.
Okay, so this year will mark the 20th year that I've worked with Larry Friedman, and the cohesion between victim advocates and prosecutors is not always a marriage made in heaven, but not all prosecutors are Larry Friedman. I've been bragging to my colleagues in the field across the state how amazing it is to have a prosecutor in my county that really keeps the needs and the rights of victims at front of mind. So onto the CAC. Larry Friedman has a gift for making sure that it's very difficult to tell him no. His tenacity is admirable, and for years he was trying to get me to join the Kiwanis Club of Batavia. And I could say, no, there's no time. I've got 2 little kids. I really can't get involved in this. And then he called me about their long-term project. Larry cooked up a plan along with the Kiwanis Club of Batavia to raise funds to renovate our child advocacy center into a place that our kiddos belong in when they have gone through a terrible experience. So with Larry, a lot of people in this room here, a lot of hard work and heart and soul went into raising the funds necessary to create the kind of child advocacy center that we're proud of and that our community can be proud of. And frankly, the kids that we're seeing are proud of. In the interim between the pre-renovation and post-renovation, we have long-term relationships with our kids. So we had kids that were visiting us before the renovation and after. And I remember one little girl, she reminded me of Dorothy in the scene of Wizard of Oz when everything came into color. She looked around and said, oh my gosh, this is beautiful. So I think it's really important that, I'm not qualified to assess this, but obviously Larry's a gifted prosecutor. But I think it's really important to recognize the impact he's had on the people in this community that we don't often hear about because it's hard to hear about. So I think, kind of in closing, I'll say that I believe that any time spent helping a child is your best shot at immortality, because what you do for that child goes on beyond you. It lives beyond you in that child, in that children, and on and on. And I think that, as we, with sadness, prepare ourselves to have Larry leave the practice of law in Genesee County and our community, his mark very obviously and very beautifully will be left on this community for an indefinite amount of time. So thank you, Larry. It's been a pleasure.
Bill Hochul talked about how Larry's legacy is going to last beyond him, and the CAC is one great example. You have to understand they were renting a building for $1,800 a month. Their budget was being slashed. They were in jeopardy of really not being able to provide the service children that are so in need. He brought the idea to us to have a long-term project with a modest goal. Our club raised $50,000 or something like that, and then with helps of other Kiwanis clubs to raise $100,000 over 5 years. We rose $225,000 in 5 years for that organization. And it was because of Larry brought it, his impetus, beating that drum, keeping our eyes on the prize. And again, your legacy will live beyond with that and the help those children receive because your efforts, your idea and your leadership in that program. So it should be important for people to know. Next, I want to invite up Matt Landers, our county manager.
Okay, I'll be brief. My style is to be brief and straight to the point. Larry, congratulations on a wonderful career. On the impact you've made in this community is tremendous. Larry brought me into the Kiwanis Club. I was probably with Genesee County for about a day, and Larry is very good about searching out new people in the county and bringing them into Kiwanis. And I want to thank you for getting to me before Rotary got to me. I've enjoyed my time at Kiwanis, and I wouldn't have been there if it wasn't for Larry. And he has been Mr. Kiwanis for the last, him and Pete Gumberger have been Mr. Kiwanians for the last 17 years that I've been part of the club. Larry's tireless devotion to helping the children of the community through the Kiwanis Club has been inspiring, and it has been something that I strive to emulate myself. The annual law dinner is just one thing that people see for his efforts for Kiwanis, but he definitely is a supporter of everything we do, everything that we have strived for. The CAC, I was one of the ones that was nervous about such a large commitment on our club. Larry was the visionary, and he gets a lot of the credit. That those fundraisers that we raised, that vital money was largely done by Larry twisting arms and also just making the case of how valuable the CAC is to our community. And I'm glad he's being recognized for a lot of that work over the CAC because it was his tireless fundraising efforts that definitely brought that to fruition. The youth of Genesee County are better off because of Larry Friedman, not only because of he is a protector, a defender of them in his prosecutorial role, but also because of the impact of Kiwanis, and our mission at Kiwanis is to serve children of the world and children of Genesee County. So Larry has made an impact in multiple ways on the youth of our community. He's going to be a tough replacement. He's been a huge part of Kiwanis for decades. I hope that he joins the Kiwanis Club out in California, because I think that they could use his talents out there. I want to thank Larry for introducing me to Kiwanis. I want to thank him for selling me his house recently. And I want to thank Larry for his friendship. Thank you.
From the District Attorney's Office, Kevin Fennell.
I'll just say I was suspicious about all these assistant DAs who were staying at the office late today.
Good afternoon, good evening. As you can see, I had some comments prepared, but it's a rough draft. And when I was about to sit down and rewrite it, somebody came into my office and we started talking. So I didn't quite get it where I wanted to, but I do want to tell you a little bit about what it's like inside the office to have Larry Friedman as a boss. And there's people who, by the way, I did think about my comments last night, and I realized that he has 6 months plus to fire me for any reason. So I'm going to monitor what I say. No, we've had people in the office and who universally said he's a great boss. No doubt about that. Larry is a great guy to work for, and I'm not saying that because of the next 6 months. I'm saying that because that's true, and everybody believes it. Everybody that works at that office, I can say, have been welcomed and helped and encouraged by Larry. There's a lot of things, you know, that you have going on in your life as a prosecutor. There's always something to do. You always have work to do. You always have to go on to the next case. But Larry's always taking the time, no matter what time of day it is, what he's doing, to sit down and talk to and help people work through their problems on any particular case. He said to me personally, and he's shown in his actions, that he likes mentoring the younger attorneys. And we have a number of younger attorneys in our office, and I hear them going to him constantly throughout the day. And honestly, I don't know how he does it, but he does do it. He takes the time. He's never cross with anybody. He does not, you know, he's such an even keel from where I sit inside the office. And I've been working for him for 24 years, ever since he was a DA. I've been working with him for 30 years at a time, and Judge Noonan will tell you that we were all part-time. When I first started in 1990, all the ADAs and the DA were part-time. And we had private practices, and you know, we'd have these DA files, these prosecution files that we kept with us, and we'd go run around. And the DA's office was in this building, and it was downstairs, but it was a very small office, and we couldn't all be there at one time. Mostly, you couldn't get any work done, certainly. So you had to do your work in different places, and that took away the resources that are available, that Larry's made available to all the attorneys now in the office. He really changed the culture of the DA's office in Genesee County. He became the first full-time DA. He made sure his assistants were the first. We're all full-time DAs. I was the last one. 2 part-time positions, Judge Zambito's and mine had combined in 1. And at that point, we were in the new courthouse across the street. And it was just such a better environment because there were resources there. If you didn't have a question, if you had a question about some case, you had a problem, a difficult defense attorney, a case that you were worried about, his door is always open. It's always been open. And I think he'll miss that part of it, being able to help mentor the kids. I don't use that derogatorily. I just mean the younger attorneys. If there's a trial, he's going to take you in there. He's going to talk to you. He's going to let you know what it is. And that resource is unbelievable. And if you're, you know, considering the students here, if you're considering a career in law, that's something that I hope you have, that we've all had. And, you know, Teresa said something that is really important. And when you can help a child, it's a very significant thing. And Larry's done that by handling cases. He's done that by leading by example. He's done it in ways that only I know about at this point, because if you lose a burglary, you know, you feel bad. And not even that so much, but certain cases you don't get as wrapped up as when there's child sexual abuse. And I know I had a difficult case like that once, and it didn't go well for me. And I came back to the office, and I was thinking about that Top Gun movie where the guy finds a, you know, truck driving school, and I was thinking about all sorts of things like that. And just a couple of words, you know, Larry said, listen, he said something I knew, which is the harder cases are the ones that go to trial. If there were great cases, they'd plead out. But he also said that he appreciated that I was willing to do that. And that really picked me up. It meant the world to me. Try harder cases. And that kind of mentorship, leadership is really something that is intangible but so important. And you know, he has had that in spades. You know, he tries to make the workplace a great place to be. People enjoy the company of their coworkers, where we can laugh and not worry about it. He's treated the whole office to a lot of lunches. Thank you, Jean. And we've enjoyed those. It brings everybody closer together. And it is that kind of environment that makes you want to go to work. And I know this also personally after 40 years. I know Larry Friedman likes his job. He loves his job. And that's tough to do after that amount of time. So you picked a very good person to honor. When he does finally decide to leave, we're all going to miss him, nobody more than me. So thank you.
We appreciate you guys hanging in with us as long as you can. If you have to leave us, we understand, because we're kind of held you hostage. You didn't know we were going to spring the surprise on you, otherwise it wouldn't be a surprise. So surprise. You're invited to Larry's recognition program too. Retired family court judge, Eric Adams.
When I was asked to speak today, I was trying to think, well, what can I say about Larry? And Larry, I know that you're the kind of guy that when people just go on and on about all the things that you've accomplished, it's a little bit of an embarrassment. It's kind of tough to take sometimes, but I want to put you at ease because I don't intend to do that at all. Larry and I go back more than a year or two. We have relatively similar histories. Larry started in a small local firm here in Batavia, as did I, private practice. We both went into part-time county jobs. He was a district attorney. I worked in the county attorney's office. We were both prosecutors. I handled the child abuse and neglect cases for the Department of Social Services. Larry handled all the cases these gentlemen in the black uniforms brought before him. We are both Kiwanis, and oddly enough, we are both second generation Kiwanis. Both of our dads were Kiwanis before us. There are some differences. We started our professional careers in much the same way. But my career evolved and dealt almost exclusively in family court. Larry almost exclusively in county court. We both like convertibles. He likes Italian convertibles. I happen to like a German convertible. But there is another important difference, that being when I've got the top down, I can feel the wind going through my hair. But I must give Larry his due. I was familiar with the CAC before we had a CAC in this county. It was something that only existed in the metropolitan areas like Buffalo and Rochester. We kind of had a CAC started. We were renting some space. It was pretty limited. It was very difficult to, there was no decor for children. It was the right idea, but it was really just not what the CAC was supposed to be. And I was on a committee, and Larry was as well, that was looking into what could we do about this. And the first time that Larry came to the HIT committee and suggested that the Kiwanis Club was going to raise something around 50. Frankly, I remember it was 100,000, but I honestly thought Larry perhaps had been testing some of that evidence that had been brought in his own lab, because I was just floored that he would make such a suggestion. I didn't think it was possible. I didn't think it was possible for our club to do that kind of thing. But Larry's approach was very different. Larry's approach was, why not? He not only sold us on the idea, he pushed the idea through. He convinced us that we were capable of doing what we later accomplished. And he was an integral part of all of those fundraising activities, those nights over at Batavia Downs, where we had the big parties and all the different raffles and things like that. It was just, it was really, truly amazing for a club and a community the size of Batavia to undertake that activity. And I have to give Larry credit for that. He was the driving force behind that. Now, Larry, this is the only embarrassment I'm going to get there. Okay, I just got to give it to him. He was really the driving force for that. Now, to bring you back to reality, I want you to understand. When you're out in California, you're going to see a lot of pretty girls, right? Yeah, and I'm sure on occasion they are going to come to you and for dinner or whatever, and they're going to tell you, I made this argument today, I made this statement today, and I was taken aback because I could just remember that that's what you would say to me. And I want you to know, Larry, that's not pride, that's fear. The other thing I want you to understand, Larry, is you're retired. Now, my understanding is you've been at this job long enough so that you're pension invested, right? Yeah, okay. Now, I'm sure you've been planning, and God knows why you're going. Well, I know that because of the girls. Other than that, it's beyond me. But in any event, I want you to just become aware of something. First of all, I did a little bit of looking today. The median price of a house in Los Angeles County is a mere $650,000. And that does not cover the bill. That Maserati takes premium, right? $4.32 a gallon. And as nuts as it sounds, the state income tax in California is nearly 50% higher than it is here. So, with that in mind, I did a little more work for it because I'm trying to help you in any way I can. And you might want to write this down. www.walmart.com. I looked today, they have 6,227 jobs open in the Los Angeles County area, and some of them are greeters, which I'm sure you'd be qualified. All right. Again, Larry, you did a fantastic job as a DA. You did a fantastic job with the Kiwanis. I really appreciate what you've done here, and the arguments.
And our last person coming to for Larry's recognition is Larry's predecessor, right? Judge Newman. Larry's predecessor is the DA, Judge Newman. Come up and say a few words about Larry. We really had to beg him. I had to pay him a couple of dollars just to get him to show up, but he really.
Wow, what a beautiful room this is. If only I could be a judge in this room. I gotta say, I'm gonna use notes because I have a lot of things I wanted to remember to say about Larry. But I'm gonna say quite a few favorable things about him, about his good and honest character. And by doing so, I apologize to anyone who saw the subtle duplicity when he told an Erie County native that he was brought up in Clarence, and the next breath told a Batavia resident that he was born here. Both statements are true. It occurred to me that the best background to understand my thoughts about Larry is to recount the decades leading up to his election as DA. I became his assistant DA on the day I was admitted to practice in January of 1976. Ron Fancher was the elected DA and was dealing with a horrible murder case with Joseph Pulowski and the getaway driver witness accomplice accused of murdering a young gas station attendant on across from Cherry Hills, William Balkwood, during a robbery of the Minuteman gas station. And before I was admitted, the case against Pulowski, the shooter, was tried and resulted in a hanged jury right in this courtroom here. Much shock in the community. And the case was retried while I was waiting to be admitted to the bar. So I got to sit in on the case every day and very fascinated with criminal law, more so than teaching law school. And I took the bar exam and was admitted in January '76. And this case was retried with Mr. Fancher prosecuting the defendant pro se. I attended most of that trial, and over the next 5 years, I became very active in the DA's office, handling most of the serious criminal events. Mr. Fancher left the DA's office after he chose not to run for re-election in 1987. I ran unopposed for DA in the 1987 election and took office just in time to try several homicide cases, including the Goodell case. People know about that one. A case called People versus Paul S., involving the death of a trooper, Paul Curtis, and the Beverly Miller case involving the death of a child by her babysitter, all in hellishly hot weather in the summer of 1988 when this room was barely below 95 degrees. As an aside, while I was preparing for those three trials, I was awakened in the middle of the night by the state police, who had just discovered the bodies of a couple of young men in separate tents at the campground of Darien Lake adjacent to the concert area. As I got dressed to head out to the scene, my wife said to me, "Tell me again why you want this job." At that point, I decided I needed to be a driven first assistant to handle the most serious cases when I was sworn in. I reflected back to 1982 when, as first assistant DA to Mr. Fancher, I tried the murder case against Andrew Cristivo, who murdered elderly Mr. Capilardo during a house burglary on Thomas Avenue in the city of Batavia in September of 1980. The case was defended by legendary attorney Clark J. Zimmerman, and Larry second chaired the case while I tried it. After the jury was seated, and I was about to give my opening statement, Clark Zimmerman began writing down notes, and when he stood up to give his opening, he stood up by saying sarcastically, "May it please the court, Mr. First Assistant District Attorney, Mr. First Assistant to the First Assistant District Attorney." And Larry and I both got a little chuckle out of that. And 6 years later, I followed Mr. Zimmerman's recommendation and appointed Larry as my first assistant when I became DA. For the next 8 years, Larry and I successfully prosecuted hundreds of cases and became partners in private practice and very good friends. We socialized with our families, and oh, by the way, Rebecca and Savannah, hello. Nobody even knows you're here because you're just on TV. Our families all socialized together. And he and I even went on a one-week ski trip to Western Canada which got short-circuited when he took a serious fall, got up and skied the balance of the mountain. The trip got shortened and Larry had surgery. And several orthopedic surgeons expressed disbelief that anyone could have continued skiing after such an injury. Only Larry. Our social relationship came to a screeching halt in 1996 when I was elected county court judge. For the next 19 years, I've presided over virtually all the felonies prosecuted by Larry and his assistants. In that connection, we often disagreed philosophically, litigated agreeably, and I believe enjoyed our respective positions while respecting each other and managing the moment. Larry's personal performance was nearly flawless, and I say nearly in the hope that would prevent him from getting a swelled head. And the supervision of his assistants demanded received a high level of professional performance by them. Since I retired 5 years ago, we have reinstated our social relationship. The sound Larry has been a disciplined, prepared, and honest lawyer, prosecutor, and community good citizen for more than 3 decades. Larry Friedman is very deserving of the honor being bestowed, and thank you for inviting these comments. Now, just lastly, I'll say this. One thing that Larry and I always agreed upon is we would divide the bill. Nobody would ever pay more for each other than the other. And in doing so, they call and ask if I would memento of this occasion for Larry, and we can do that. So my comments have been reduced to writing and training. And they are all elite and elite colors. The training was $4 $.
Well, first, we certainly appreciate you guys joining us in this recognition of Larry as his impending retirement is coming, and this is his last year being part of our law enforcement recognition, law day recognition event, which he has, again, grown from being just a small ceremony we had within our club to something bigger in the community. So, well served. I must tell you, Larry, before he decided to retire, didn't go so rogue. He could just follow the script. So I handed an agenda here that he was supposed to follow, and he just messed it up. Right off the first, he gave out the awards out of order, and with that, we did miss one, and it kind of falls in the right place. So we talked about recognition of Larry and his retirement. Unfortunately, in the past year, a few people have retired permanently. Two long-standing members of the community. So I'm going to invite Jake Whiting up with the Genesee County Bar Association to talk about Dave Soleil and Theron Howard.
Thank you for having me. And thank you to all the law enforcement folks for all your service to our community. Congratulations to all of the award winners tonight. And it's a pleasure to be here. The justice system does not work properly or to its full potential without good attorneys. In Genesee County, we are lucky to have an abundance of proficient attorneys that span many practice areas, working both the public and private sector. 2 longstanding attorneys passed away in 2020. Theron, Ted Howard, and David Solomon. I am here on behalf of the Genesee County Bar Association to honor their legacies. Ted Howard passed away on June 11th, 2020. Ted began his career in a factory in the Pulsive Feeder in Leroy before going to law school. Ted started practicing law in Genesee County in 1978. He worked for 2 years as an assistant district attorney. Thereafter, Ted opened his own private practice that remained for 40+ years. Ted also fulfilled several public roles. He was a town justice for the town of Pavilion. He was the town supervisor for the town of Pavilion. And he prosecuted traffic matters in the towns of both Pavilion and Batavia. Ted also volunteered generously in the community.
on the Pavilion School Board, the Leroy Historical Society Board, and the GCC Foundation Board. David Solly passed away on October 29th, 2020. Dave spent many years in private practice before becoming in-house counsel at Enlighten. Dave was the past president of the Johnson County Bar Association and acted as a delegate to the state judicial nominating committee for over 35 years. During the year leading up to his death, Dave served as a part-time city court judge here in Batavia. And beyond his professional endeavors, Dave donated his time and energy to his community. At his church, as a volunteer firefighter for 44 years, as a member of the Lions Club for 40 plus years, and as a member of the Corfu Free Library and St. Jerome Hospital Foundation. Ted and Dave were not only good attorneys, but they were good people. They both worked right up until their health made it impossible for them to do so. They placed their clients, their community members, and their neighbors' needs ahead of their own. They will be missed not only by the local bar, the attorneys, but by the entire Genesee County community. Thank you.
Before I invite Larry, you're going to make any comments? Before I invite Larry to come up to make these comments, I want to say, I want to thank you, the law enforcement individuals, have been recognized, especially in these times. It's very important for our club in this community to know and to say thank you. You don't hear it enough. It's a brutal job out there. We know it. There's enough of us out there that recognize what you go through every day, and we thank you. And we appreciate everything you do. And again, I think everyone should stand up and give them a round of applause for the recognition. And I want to apologize to everybody for inviting Larry to say a few words because he is not a man of few words. Larry?
But I'll try. First of all, I'm not sure why I get blamed for messing up the agenda that's being run by Peter. But, you know, and I want to express my appreciation and respect for all of the award recipients tonight. I have always had a great deal of respect for our law enforcement community and have had a great working relationship. And I'm proud of all of you. And having been involved in the mock trial program for many years, my respect is also to the Alexander High School team because I know that they've struggled sometimes in the past to have a team. And if I'm not mistaken, I think this may be the first time that they've won this competition. And so congratulations to all of you. And I do want to just briefly express my appreciation for this award that I received tonight. My appreciation for everybody who came out to make comments. Our former U.S. Attorney Bill Hochul, who I haven't seen in quite some time. It's great to see you again. And Judge Noonan, I hope you didn't mind Kevin Snell's disrespectful comments about how much the VA's office has improved during the time that I've been running it. Something like that, yeah. We have a couple of our other assistant VAs here, Andrew DePasquale and Aaron Moore. Thank you for joining us. I'm sorry, Caitlin Schmidt back there behind the mask. While it is true that I have about 6 months left to fire Kevin, of course, I would never do that. And in case any of you don't know, and I'm very happy about this, Kevin Snell is running unopposed to be the next district attorney of Genesee County. And Kevin is a phenomenal attorney. He's been in the office for more than 30 years. He's a great trial lawyer. He's going to do a great job, and I feel very good about leaving the office in his hands with the very capable staff that we have now. And thank you to Judge Adams and for being here. I was a little concerned. Our public defender, Jerry Ader, has been sitting on the windowsill back there all evening with a smirk on his face. I was waiting for him to give rebuttal to all the nice things that everyone else said. But I guess we got past that. And I do appreciate all the kind and exaggerated comments made by everybody this evening. I do also want to introduce a few people here, and then I'll be done. First, appearing virtually was mentioned by my daughters, who are both in the Los Angeles area, and for some strange reason, they both ended up in the legal field. My daughter Rebecca, who's on the bottom of the screen there, is a paralegal working for my brother Rick, who's an attorney in Los Angeles, and on the top of the screen is my daughter, Susanna, who for some very strange reason has become a deputy district attorney in Los Angeles County. And Rebecca, I know, is now looking for a home in Los Angeles. And I'm sure when she heard that figure of $650,000, she was thinking, show me any livable home for $650,000 and I'll jump at it. Seriously, it's crazy out there. My girlfriend, Jean Walton, sitting up here, and I know I would get grief if I didn't introduce her daughter, Riley, who is an Alexander High School graduate, and I believe former student of Johnny Lucas, as is Riley's brother, Hayden, who was on the mock trial team last year. And he bragged about their undefeated season of 2 trials that they got in last year. So, again, Matt Landers, also thank you for your comments. I hope I didn't miss anyone. I'm sorry all of you were held hostage for this silliness that went on for all this time. And Chair of our legislature, Michelle Stein, thank you for being here. Thank you, everyone. I really appreciate it. And have a good evening.